Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aroa and today I am filming a video to share with you what living abroad has taught me. So, I am from Spain. I was born and raised in Madrid, which is the capital of Spain, and I actually have lived abroad for more than 10 years already. I initially left Spain to live in America, in the US, for a year. And I did that as basically an exchange student. So I did a year abroad in America while I was in high school. And this was my last year of high school. So I was 17 years old. And I did that year abroad. I honestly had the time of my life. I cannot express enough what that year was for me. It was a life changing year because a lot of things changed in my head and my personality that year. But anyway, I will give more details about that later. This is just an introduction. So, anyway, I did that year abroad as an exchange student in high school in the state of Massachusetts in America. And then I actually ended up staying for university in America, which is 4 years. So I did my entire bachelor's degree in America. I went to New Jersey to do it. And I had the time of my life. It was such a good experience. So, anyway, that was a total of 5 years. And then I graduated and I decided to go to London. So when I graduated, I said, you know what, I kind of don't feel like I want to just live in Spain for the rest of my life because I've done so much work with, English, and my brain had changed after doing my degree in America. So it just wasn't enough for me to just work in Spanish for the rest of my life. So I said, okay, let me go to London. So I ended up in London 6 years. So yeah, that's been like more than 10 years total. Anyway, so what has that taught me? What are the benefits of living abroad? If you are going to hear about living abroad, hear from me because I am a very experienced person in this subject. So let's go to the first thing. So, what has living abroad taught me? So, the first thing that it has taught me is a lot of independence. I remember at first when I was 17 and I did nothing else than living with my parents. I just learned after that year in America, in Massachusetts, I learned to be independent. I just didn't need someone to be with me constantly. I didn't need to have necessarily my support system physically next to me as long as I could like reach, my phone, WhatsApp and all that. But actually, I think at that time when I went to Massachusetts, when I went to Massachusetts the first year, I actually didn't even have WhatsApp. Like, that's crazy to think. I didn't have WhatsApp, actually. I didn't even have a smartphone, actually, at that age. Um, Technology in Spain, at least in my generation, I know I look quite young, but anyway, at least in my generation, when I was 17, we didn't have iPhones. Definitely, we didn't. Um, so anyway, I didn't even have a smartphone, and I took this potato phone that could just call in case of an emergency. And then I communicated with my real family by email and do Skype occasionally. But anyway, I built so much independence to the point that you just don't need someone to be with you constantly. You learn to enjoy life without needing to go everywhere with someone. And that's a big win, I think, because it gives you a lot of freedom to decide what you want to do. You have nothing in your head stopping you or making you feel weird because you're on your own. You kind of overcome that. You become very resourceful because you are on your own, solving your life challenges. And this leads me to my second benefit of being an expat or living abroad. But I just want to, before I go to the second topic, I actually want to stress the importance of going alone, because I remember when I was going to do my year abroad in America, I had this school friend in high school in Spain that she wanted to do a year abroad in America as well, but she really wanted to go with someone, and I respect that. But I had that clear at that time that I wanted to go on my own. I didn't want to go with someone, and I think that a lot of people, for example, that do a year abroad, they go with local people, like people from their country. I don't think the experience is the same. I don't think it's the same in terms of cultural immersion, because when you go on your own, it's like you're forcing yourself to make new friends, and that already builds more confidence, which will be beneficial for your future. It already pushes you more than those people who are going with their friends abroad. For me, that was key, and if you can also, on top of making friends, if you can make friends with people who are local in that foreign country, you are learning so much, so much. In fact, that was key for me, because when I went to America as a teenager, and I started to make friends with American high school students, my brain changed. It's just you, the way that your brain works in trying to get used to what you have around is insane, and the capabilities of your brain are insane if you exploit them. And that's what I mean about like really mastering a foreign language. You have to immerse yourself into it, and going on your own not only builds confidence, but it just also it changes your head forever. Anyway, so let's go to my second point. The second thing that living abroad has taught me is to understand the value of committing years to something, because for me it's like every single time I've gone abroad, it's been for more than like 2 3 months. It's like I've always made my commitment in years. And I know that not a lot of people have done it like that. But for me, for example, when you commit to doing your degree in America, you have to be there for 4 years. I mean, yeah. So you know that you're committing to all those years there. And that has taught me the value of committing to something for long. Like, you don't understand how valuable it is that you can actually commit to the challenge for that long and stay doing the challenge despite the difficulties that you will encounter. Because when you are abroad and you are in a foreign country, you will encounter difficulties, and they are difficulties that you cannot expect or predict, but they are challenges that you have to address as they come. And the fact that for example, I haven't run away back to my home country, everything would have been so much easier if I would have stayed, at university here in Spain. I mean, obviously, so much easier, but I didn't, and that is the value of committing to something for long, that you learn to be resilient. And that is a very good quality for your future, because anything you want to create in life, anything good, is going to require some resilience, is going to require confidence, and just good, valuable qualities. And I think that's one of the main things that living abroad has taught me, that when you commit to the idea of living abroad for long, you're building a lot of resilience that you develop overcoming challenges and difficulties. So that's my second thing. And the last thing that living abroad has taught me is the value of having an open and curious mind. I guess not everyone has the goal of living abroad, especially not for as long as I have. In fact, I talk to a lot of Spanish people just like me, and they're like, no, I never felt a need or a desire to live away from Spain. I mean, that's just completely understandable, because Spain is just a beautiful country, lots of sunshine, very nice life quality. Um, but I think, I guess, through my journey and probably the main reason why I have lasted so long living abroad is because I've really seen and experienced the value of keeping an open mind and benefiting from things that maybe you were not necessarily born into. What I'm trying to say is that obviously everyone has their own set of skills and things, but if you have the skills to build a life in a land or a country that you have not been born into, you get to benefit from those experiences that you can live there. And that is insane. I think that for me has been so incredibly rewarding to be able to experience, for example, British culture, so many things about, you know, just British culture in general, American culture that I'm not necessarily born into. Like, I've never been born into an English speaking country, but I have created those opportunities in those countries. And that is so rewarding internally. Um, I mean, it's been a bombastic experience for me. So I have nothing other than positivity to share because obviously, like I mentioned earlier, there are challenges, but I just don't see challenges as a negative thing because as you overcome them, you are actually becoming stronger and more resourceful than you were before. So, you know, I have nothing else to say about, living abroad. I think is an incredible experience, whether you can do it for 1 month or you do it for many years. But these are the main things that living abroad has taught me. Share your thoughts. Have you lived abroad? And if so, where? Share whether or not you agree with me. And if there is anything else that you have experienced or learned from living abroad that you want to share, please drop it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and catch up soon. Bye.